The email from Matthias Reed arrived on a rainy Tuesday evening, the kind of Chicago night where the wind howled off the lake and made you question every decision. I stared at the screen, my cursor hovering over the delete button, but something stopped me. The subject line read, "Ezra, I need to talk about what I did to you." It had been 10 years since high school at Lincoln High, 10 years since Matthias, the golden boy athlete from the strict family on the other side of town, had made it his mission to make my life miserable. Because I had come out as gay, I was 16, then scared but determined to be honest with myself and the world. He was the one who started the taunts in the cafeteria, calling me names loud enough for the whole table to hear, then escalating to shoving me into lockers when no teachers were around. I stood there in my Lincoln Park apartment, the city lights blurring through rain-streaked windows, and felt the old fear rise like, well, why now, after all the nights I spent wondering if I would ever feel safe in my own skin again. My name is Ezra Kane, and at 28, I had built something resembling a life, a job as a marketing coordinator at a small firm, friends who understood without needing explanations, and an apartment that felt like mine. But the trust issues lingered. Relationships never lasted because I always waited for the betrayal. I deleted the email at first, then retrieved it from trash and read it again. He was in town for a business meeting and wanted to meet too. Explain, no excuses, just the truth, he wrote. I paced the small living room, my socks sliding on the hardwood, the weight of those memories pressing down. The first time he targeted me was in sophomore year, after I told the school counselor I was gay, and word spread fast. Matthias cornered me by the vending machines, his Letterman jacket smelling of sweat and cologne. "Hey fag," he said loud enough for everyone to hear, "you think anyone here wants your kind around?" His friends laughed, and I just walked away. Head down, heart hammering. That night I cried in my room while my single mom worked her night shift at the hospital. She had always been supportive in her quiet way, but I saw the worry in her eyes when she came home and found me with a black eye from another incident. She said, "We can move towns if you want," but I refused. I wanted to finish what I started, proving I belonged. The bullying got worse. Matthias led the charge, spreading rumors that I had hit on him in gym class, turning to the whole team against me. My locker was vandalized, my books thrown in the trash. I ate lunch in the library alone, counting the days until graduation. My mom tried to talk to the principal, but in our conservative suburb, the response was always the same: boys will be boys, or maybe you should keep a low profile. Now, 10 years later, with a decent paycheck and a circle of chosen family, I thought I had moved on, but that email cracked the shell. I replied with a time and place, a busy cafe downtown the next day, against every instinct screaming to block him. The night passed in restless sleep, old scenes replaying. The time he tripped me in the hallway, sending my tray flying, food everywhere, and the laughter that followed, or the way his dad, a prominent church deacon, would shake hands with mine at school events, pretending everything was fine while his son made my life hell. I woke up early, dressed in a simple button-down and jeans, not to impress, but to show survival. Arriving at the cafe, I chose a corner table, sipping coffee that tasted bitter. When he walked in, taller, broader, but with lines around his eyes that high school never had, he spotted me immediately and approached his steps hesitant. "Ezra," he said, sitting without asking, "thanks for coming. I don't deserve this." I leaned back, arms crossed, heart pounding. "Say, well, Matthias, that you're sorry for the names, the shoves, the way you made sure I ate lunch alone every day for 2 years." He winced, looking at his hands. "It's more than that. I bullied you because I was scared of what I felt when I looked at you. I was gay too, but I couldn't admit it. My dad would have disowned me, the church, the team, everything told me it was wrong, so I took it out on you, the one who was brave enough to be himself." The word hung between us, the cafe noise fading to a hum. I felt shock, anger, and something like pity. Was this truth or another game? We talked for an hour, him sharing how after graduation he went to college, dated girls to fit, and even got engaged, but it fell apart when he couldn't pretend anymore. Me telling him how I moved to the city, found a community, but still carry the scars in every new relationship. By the end, I was drained, but not ready to walk away. "I need time," I said as we stood. "This is a lot." He nodded, giving me his number. "I understand. Just know I'm not that guy anymore, or at least I'm trying not to be." Walking home, the wind off the lake cold on my face, I wonder if meeting him was the biggest mistake or the start of something I couldn't name. The internal conflict, rage, forgive and risk pain, or shut him out and stay safe. But deep down, his confession had cracked something in me. The decision to see him again weighed heavy that night as I lay in bed, replaying every word. The price of curiosity could be everything I had built, but ignoring it felt like running from the truth I had fought so hard to own. The next morning, I woke with a headache and a decision. I called in sick to work, something I never did, and spent the day walking the lakefront path, trying to sort the chaos Matthias had unleashed. The suburbs where we grew up were only 30 minutes away, but worlds apart. My mom still lived in the same modest house, working doubles to keep it, while his family had the big colonial with the perfect lawn and the dad who coached Little League and preached on Sundays. I remembered the family dinners I overheard about from classmates, how Matthias was pushed to be the man of the house, the star, the example, while any weakness was shame. My own mom, though exhausted, always hugged me after bad days, saying, "You are enough just as you are." But even she had moments of fear. When the bullying got physical once after a particularly bad week, she sat me down and asked if I could try to keep it quiet until graduation. I refused, and that choice cost us both sleep and peace. Now, as an adult, I understood her fear. But it still stung. The societal pressure in our town was real. The local paper ran stories on traditional values, the church ran youth groups that subtly warned against certain lifestyles, and the high school had no gay-straight alliance back then. I pulled out my phone and stared at Matthias' number, debating a text. Finally, I sent one neutral, "Let's talk more this weekend if you're still in town." His reply came fast. "ID like that name. The place I chose. A quieter spot, a park bench near the river, not too intimate but public enough for safety." The days dragged with flashbacks hitting at random. The time in junior year when Matthias and two buddies waited after practice and pinned me against the fence yelling slurs until a coach intervened. No real punishment, just a warning. Because he was the star player, my grades dropped. I lost the art scholarship I was counting on and spent summers working retail to save for community college while he went off to stayed on a football ride. The resentment burned fresh. I met my best friend Lena for coffee. She knew the whole story from high school, and her eyes widened when I told her about the email. "Don't do it, Ezra," she said. "He's probably just easing his guilt. You'll get hurt again." But something in his voice that first meeting rang true, not polished like the old Matthias. The weekend came, and we met at the park. He arrived early, coffee in hand for both of us. We sat on the bench, the city hum in the distance, and he started opening up more after high school. I tried everything to be straight, joined the family business, my dad's construction firm, dated the girls they approved, but every night I thought about you, how you stood tall when I tried to break you. It made me hate myself more. The confession poured out, his father's constant lectures about real men, his mother's silent disappointment when the engagement ended, the therapy he started last year after a breakdown at work. I listened, feeling the walls crack a little. My own story came out too, the years of therapy, the job where a coworker once made a joke that sent me back to the locker room, the family gatherings where aunts asked when I'd find a nice girl, even though they knew better. The pressure never fully left. We talked for hours until the sun dipped low. Walking back to the train, I felt exhausted, but lighter. Was this the star of understanding, or just setting myself up for more pain? The moral dilemma hit hard that night as I cooked dinner alone. Forgiving didn't mean forgetting, but what if his pain was as real as mine? The societal prejudice we both faced in different ways bonded us in a twisted way. Yet the betrayal of those years still stung. The decision to keep talking felt like a gamble, with high stakes, my heart versus my hard-won peace. The next days blur with work, but my mind stayed on him. A text from him arrived asking if I was okay. I replied honestly, "It's a lot, but I'm listening." The exchange continued, small at first, then deeper. He sent an old photo from a school event us in the background, him laughing with friends, me looking away. The caption read, "I was looking at you." Even then, the vulnerability hit me hard. My inner voice screamed caution, but another part whispered maybe redemption is possible. The family pressure on him became clear in his stories, how his dad cut off a cousin for coming out, how the business partners were all from the same tight circle. I shared my mom's quiet support, how she drove me to my first Pride event even though it scared her. The contrast was stark, two worlds colliding. The tension built slowly with each conversation, the past and present weaving tighter. I knew meeting again was inevitable, but the cost loomed. What would I lose if I let him in, and what if I didn't? The third meeting happened at a small Italian place near my office. Matthias suggested at neutral ground. We ordered pasta and talked over wine. He looked more relaxed, but the lines of guilt remained. I pushed for details on the worst days, and he didn't flinch. The locker room shove was to prove to the team I was nothing, he said, but really to prove to myself I didn't want you the way I did. The rumor about me hitting on him was his idea to cover the nights he lay awake thinking about it. I felt anger rise, but also a strange empathy. My own coming out had been a declaration of freedom. His had been a prison. We left the restaurant and walked the streets, the city lights reflecting on wet pavement. He asked about my life, now the job, the friends, the dates that never worked. I told him about the last one, a guy who seemed perfect, until he asked me to tone it down for his conservative family. The parallel wasn't lost on us, the societal weight we both carried in different forms. Back at my apartment, I invited him up for coffee, not sure why the conversation turned heavy again. He admitted the family business was his cage. His dad expected him to take over, marry, have kids, the whole package. When he tried to come out last year, the reaction was explosive, threats to cut him off, the business, the inheritance, the name. I shared how my mom had sacrificed vacations and new clothes so I could have therapy after the bullying. The choices we made then defined us now. The moral dilemma deepened. Was his pain and excuse or explanation? The betrayal felt fresh, but his growth seemed real. We sat on the couch, the space between us small. His hand brushed mine accidentally, and neither pulled away. The touch sent a spark, but I pushed it down. This wasn't about romance, it was about truth. The night ended with him leaving, promising to keep talking. The door closed, and I leaned against it, questioning everything. The next day at work, a colleague noticed my distraction. "You okay, Ezra? You seem distant." I brushed it off, but the internal storm raged. Family pressure on both sides shaped us, his strict world, my resilient one. The confrontation with past choices loomed. I called my mom that evening and told her about the meeting. She was silent, then, "Careful, honey, be safe. He's the one who hurt you." "I know, Mom, but maybe people change." The call left me torn. The tension escalated when an old high school acquaintance texted me out of the blue. "Saw you with Matthias online. Be careful, he hasn't changed." The warning added fuel. The societal network still watching, judging. The decision to continue felt like walking a tightrope. One wrong step, And the fall would be hard, yet stopping seemed like cowardice. The days built with more meetings, more stories, his failed attempts at normalcy, my hard-won independence. The logic tightened each revelation, leading to the next. The price of his silence was self-hatred. The price of my honesty was isolation. Now we faced the choice to bridge or burn the bridge. The drama unfolded slowly, but the stakes rose with every honest word. Weeks passed, and the meetings became regular. Matthias opened more about the moral conflicts he faced daily in the family business deals with clients who shared his dad's views, the quiet comments at church events, the pressure to attend with a date that fit the mold. I shared my own battles at work, the subtle exclusions from certain projects, the jokes that weren't jokes, the way I had to prove my worth twice as hard, the parallel lives we led despite the distance connected us in unexpected ways. One evening he showed up at my door unannounced, his face pale. My dad found out about us talking. He said he wants me to stop, or else the threat hung heavy. We sat at my kitchen table. He explained the family ultimatum: cut ties or lose the promotion, the support, the legacy. I felt the weight for him. The choice between truth and security mirrored my own past decisions to stay in that town or leave. The betrayal from his side came when he admitted the worst incident, the one that almost broke me, senior year. When he organized the prank that left me locked in the equipment shed overnight, the fear, the cold, the humiliation. He did it to impress his dad, who was watching the game that day, to show he was tough. The confession broke something in him, tears in his eyes. I hated myself every second. The empathy warred with rage. How could I forgive that? The internal monologue raged through the night. Was this redemption or manipulation? The next day we met again, and I confronted him directly. The shed, Matthias, that was more than bullying, that was cruelty. He nodded. I know, and I live with it every day. My awakening came in therapy when I realized the hate was fear, the societal prejudice amplified it. All the church sermons, the locker room culture, the family dinners where gay was a punchline. The discussion turned to our choices. The price he paid for hiding was a hollow life. The price I paid for being out was scars, but strength too. The tension peaked when his phone rang. His dad. The conversation was short but tense. Matthias hung up looking defeated. He wants me home this weekend to talk. I might lose everything if I don't comply. The moral dilemma was clear: family or self. The drama intensified with external pressure. I offered to go with him for support, but he refused. Not yet. The days after were filled with texts and calls as updates on the family tension. My encouragement mixed with doubt. A friend from high school reached out, warning me again. The old group still tight. Matthias changed, they said, or did he? The betrayal from the past echoed. The societal web still entangled us. The logic of the story built each decision, leading to consequences. The awakening started small, in small acts of honesty, but the full reckoning loomed. The relationship, whatever it was, grew in the space between pain and possibility. The betrayal came without warning. A mutual acquaintance from high school posted an old photo online tagging both of us with a caption stirring old rumors. The comments flooded in questions about why we were talking. The workplace whispers started at my firm. A colleague pulled me aside. Heard you have history with that Reed guy from the suburbs. Be careful. The family business has connections. The societal prejudice hit anew. The drama escalated as Matthias called frantic. My dad saw it. He's furious, demanding I cut contact, or else. I met him at the park that afternoon, the same bench, the air thick with tension. He looked defeated. The family dinner last night was a battlefield. They gave me an ultimatum: the business or this, whatever this is. I listened, the anger rising, not at him, but at the system that forced such choices. My own mom called that evening, worried. The online stuff brought back memories for her too. The pressure mounted from all sides. We spent hours talking through the options. His sacrifice would be financial stability, mine emotional safety. The moral conflict deepened. Was supporting him betraying my past self, or healing it? The connection grew. Despite the chaos, a hand on the shoulder, a shared look. The romantic undercurrent emerged, but stayed emotional, not physical. The betrayal from the acquaintance added layers. His old friend, perhaps jealous or loyal to the past group. The confrontation with that friend via text was heated, but it forced Matthias to choose sides. He defended me publicly in a reply post. The act cost him a family argument but gained my trust. The tension rose steadily. The decisions carried real prices: his job security, my peace of mind. The societal element showed in the online backlash, comments about two guys from that town. The conservative roots still influencing. The awakening for both of us came in recognizing the shared fight against the same forces. The story flowed with each choice, building on the last: the price of silence versus the price of truth. The drama felt real and raw as we navigated the fallout. The family intervention happened on a Saturday. Matthias asked me to drive with him to the suburbs. The ride was quiet, the highway stretching toward the familiar exits. His dad's house loomed the same as ever. We knocked, and the door opened to cold eyes. The conversation in the living room was tense, accusations flying. The bullying denied, then admitted. The gay issue, the core. The dad turned to me: you ruined my son. I stood my ground. No, he ruined himself by hiding. The argument escalated, voices raised, threats of disinheritance. The sacrifice Matthias made in that moment was clear. He chose to stay and defend instead of leaving. The price was immediate. The dad stormed out. The mom cried, the air thick with pain. On the drive back, Matthias was silent, then broke: I might lose the business, the house, the name, but I can't lose myself anymore. The moral dilemma hit me hard. Was I worth that cost? The family pressure on him was immense. The church community calling the business partners, questioning the societal backlash. Real, my own family reacted when I told my mom she supported but warned of the toll. The weeks that followed were a blur of meetings with lawyers for him, arguments with me about next steps, the betrayal from within his circle. A cousin leaked details to the local paper. Small but damaging. The drama peaked with a public family statement distancing from him. The choices were hard. He moved to a small apartment closer to the city. The awakening for him was full. He came out publicly on social media, the post raw and honest, the response mixed. Support and hate. The tension with me grew as I questioned if I could be part of this new life. The romantic moment built slowly, but the conflicts tested it. The logic held. Each action had consequence. The price paid was high, but the growth real. The climax came on a bright Sunday afternoon. We met in Millennium Park, the sun warm on the grass, the lake sparkling. We sat on the bench, the city alive around us. The conversation turned to the future, his new job starting small, my support steady. Then the vulnerability peaked. He turned to me. Ezra, I don't expect forgiveness, but I want to try something real. The words hung. I felt the walls crumble. The moment was raw. We stood, and he pulled me into an embrace, the first real 1 years of pain and hope. Colliding eyes locked, the connection deep and true. The romantic spark ignited but stayed tender, the full light of the day illuminating everything, no shadows. The decision to lean in was mine, the sacrifice mutual. The family still distant, but we chose forward. The drama resolved in that moment, but the aftermath loomed, the awakening mutual. We walked hand in hand briefly, the price of the past paid in full. The tension released, but the story continued. The months that followed tested everything. Matthias rebuilt his life piece by piece, a new career away from the family. Shadow therapy continued. The family slowly softened, but the scars remained. I introduced him to my circle cautiously, the acceptance gradual. My mom met him over dinner, the conversation careful but hopeful. The societal pressures eased in the city, but never vanished completely. We chose each day to move forward. The betrayals, the trade-offs, the inner conflicts, all led to this. The love that grew was not easy but real, built on truth. And the price each paid, the awakening complete for both of us, standing stronger. The final reflection came on another park bench, the same one where it all shifted after all we had been through, the betrayals, the sacrifices, the moments of awakening that changed us both. I had to ask myself one final question: was forgiving the boy who bullied me because I was gay the right choice, or did it mean I had betrayed my own strength? True or false?